Now, 3 suspects have been indicted in the fatal shooting of a pregnant woman. They are accused of the January killing of 34-year-old Tameisha Price. People are now charged in connection to the deadly shooting of a pregnant woman and her unborn child. 26-year-old Jerry Scott was arrested and charged with 2 counts of premeditated aggravated murder. 34-year-old Shawaya Triplett was arrested and charged with obstructing justice. A 3rd suspect, Paris James, turned himself into police today. Police had been looking for him. He is also charged with 2 counts of premeditated aggravated murder. The shooting happened on Norton Place near Reynolds and Airport. That was back on January 24th. Police said the shooting was planned. The coroner says Tameisha Price died from multiple gunshot wounds.
In the pre-dawn chill of January 24th, 2024, a single gunshot tore through the quiet of South Toledo, Ohio. A modest home on Norton Place became a crime scene. Inside, a mother, just weeks from cradling her newborn daughter, lay lifeless on her bedroom floor. Tameisha Price, 34, was at the heart of this tragedy. A vibrant mother of 2 sons, she was weeks away from welcoming her first daughter, Malaysia Leani Price. Her life was one of love, determination, and hope. She balanced single motherhood with a career in healthcare, always putting her boys first. Her social media glowed with excitement for her baby girl. Ultrasound photos, nursery plans, and dreams of braiding her daughter's hair. But someone didn't want that future to happen. Someone saw Tameisha's joy as a threat, and they made a choice that ended 2 lives in seconds. Welcome to Dark Truth Files, where real stories hide in the shadows, and we bring them to light. These aren't just chilling tales, they actually happened. When you like, share, and subscribe, you're not just growing this channel, you're spreading awareness, protecting others, and maybe saving a life. So don't just watch. Be the reason someone stays safe. Stay alert, stay informed, stay alive.
Accused of shooting and killing a pregnant woman is set to start, but now they want a delay. Prosecutors allege the pair planned and carried out the murder of Tameisha Price, who was 9 months pregnant. But now new evidence has come to light. 13 Action News reporter Alexis Means is live with this story, all new at 6.
Sasha, the newly discovered evidence indicates that there's a 3rd person's DNA on the murder weapon. The attorneys for Paris James and Jerry Scott filed a motion saying they need to investigate the new evidence turned over to them by the prosecutor. According to these court documents filed this month, a piece of evidence in the case tested by BCI found another male's DNA on the murder weapon. It led prosecutors to investigate this person. James and Scott are accused of aggravated murder in the killing of Tameisha Price. They're accused of planning and executing the plan that resulted in the 34-year-old woman's death. Price was 9 months pregnant with James's child. Neither Price nor the baby girl she was carrying survived. The deadly shooting happened inside the woman's home last year.
At the center of this case is a man named Paris James, the alleged father of Tameisha's unborn child. Their relationship, once filled with promise, had crumbled under the weight of doubt and denial. James, 27, worked at a local manufacturing plant. presenting himself as responsible to some, but hiding a darker side. As Tameisha's pregnancy progressed, he began questioning whether he was the father. Arguments escalated, text messages turned hostile. Tameisha stood firm, insisting Malaysia was his daughter. She even pursued a court-ordered paternity test to prove it. But James didn't want the truth. He wanted out. And investigators believe he chose murder over responsibility. But James wasn't alone. 2 others were pulled into this deadly web.
Now, 3 suspects have been indicted in the fatal shooting of a pregnant woman. They are accused in the January killing of 34-year-old Tameisha Price. Take a look. According to court documents, a grand jury indicted Paris James and Jerry Scott on several counts of aggravated murder and felonious assault, among other charges. Shawaya Triplett was also indicted on 2 third-degree felony counts of obstructing justice. All 3 suspects are accused of involvement in the homicide of Price, whose unborn child was also killed in the shooting. According to court documents, detectives say Scott did participate in the planning and execution of the plan that resulted in Price's death. Those documents also indicate that Triplett, who detectives said is James's live-in girlfriend, provided an alibi for James that was later proven to be false.
Jerry Scott, 26, emerged as an alleged accomplice, accused of helping plan and execute the crime. Shawaya Triplett, 34, James's live-in girlfriend, played a different role, lying to police to protect him. Together, they formed a triangle of deception, with Tameisha and Malaysia caught in the crosshairs. The evidence pointed to premeditation, video footage.
There is a 3rd person charged in this case, Shawaya Triplett. She's charged with obstructing justice. Her attorney says she will not be tried with the men.
I filed a motion to sever her case from the other 2 defendants on the basis she was just charged with 1 count of obstruction of justice, and I didn't want that case being tried. My case will be tried after the other 2 cases are tried.
Triplett is accused of lying to police about the whereabouts of Paris James.
Witness statements, a chilling plan. But just as the case seemed to solidify, a shocking discovery in 2025 turned everything upside down. DNA from an unknown man was found on the murder weapon. Could it point to another killer? Or is it a distraction from the truth? Tameisha Price was a force. At 34, she'd built a life in Toledo, Ohio, that revolved around family, community, and unwavering hope. Born and raised in the Glass City, she carried the spirit of its working-class roots. Her smile was infectious. Her laugh could brighten the gloomiest day. Friends described her as vibrant, the kind of person who walked into a room and made everyone feel seen. But it was her role as a mother that defined her. Tameisha was a mom first, always. Her 2 young sons were her world, and she poured every ounce of herself into raising them right. She was the mom at every school event, cheering from the sidelines at soccer games, helping with homework in the quiet evenings. She balanced discipline with love, teaching her boys to dream big while keeping their feet on the ground. In a world that can be tough on single mothers, Tameisha thrived. She worked in administrative support at a local healthcare facility, earning respect for her dedication and warmth. Co-workers called her a team player, always ready to lend a hand or share a laugh. But her heart stayed at home, with her boys, her anchor. Then came the news that changed everything. In 2023, Tameisha learned she was pregnant with her 3rd child, a girl. She named her Malaysia Leani Price before she even arrived. For Tameisha, this was a new chapter. Her first daughter, a princess to join her little princes. She documented every moment on social media, sharing ultrasound photos with captions like, "Can't wait to meet my princess." Her Instagram glowed with hope. She posted about nursery plans, picking out pink decorations, tiny clothes, and a crib that would soon cradle her baby girl. Friends flooded her posts with congratulations, sharing her excitement. Tameisha's pregnancy wasn't just a personal milestone. It was a community event. 2 weeks before her death, her co-workers threw her a baby shower. Photos from the event show Tameisha beaming, surrounded by pink balloons, gifts piled high for Malaysia. She was so ready to be a girl mom, a colleague recalled. She had everything planned, from Malaysia's first outfits to how she'd braid her hair when she got older. Tameisha's joy was contagious. She was counting down the days, her due date just around the corner. At nearly 9 months pregnant, she was ready to welcome her daughter into a world of love. Beyond her family, Tameisha was a pillar in her Toledo community. She volunteered at her son's school, helping with events and fundraisers. She participated in neighborhood initiatives, always eager to make her corner of South Toledo a better place. Neighbors knew her as the woman with a quick smile and a kind word. She wasn't just raising her boys. She was helping raise the community around them. Her generosity was boundless. Whether it was donating to a local cause or checking in on a struggling neighbor, Tameisha showed up. Her job at the healthcare facility wasn't just a paycheck, it was a calling. She worked in administrative support, handling paperwork, scheduling, and patient interactions with care. Patients remembered her warmth, her ability to make a stressful visit feel a little lighter. Co-workers leaned on her for support, knowing she'd always have their back. Tameisha's life wasn't perfect. She faced the challenges of single motherhood, financial pressures, and the weight of raising 3 kids alone. But she faced them with grace, determination, and a belief that tomorrow could be better. At the heart of this tragedy lies Tameisha's relationship with Paris James, the man she believed to be Malaysia's father. Their romance began about a year before her pregnancy, sparked at a local gathering through mutual friends. At first, it was casual, filled with laughter and possibility. James, 27, seemed like a good match. He worked at a manufacturing plant, had no major criminal history, and presented himself as stable. Tameisha saw potential for something real. For a time, they were building a future together. Or so she thought. When Tameisha announced her pregnancy, James's reaction was mixed. He acknowledged the possibility of being the father, but didn't share her enthusiasm. As the months passed, his attitude shifted. Doubt crept in. He began questioning whether the baby was his. Tameisha, certain of the truth, stood her ground. She shared ultrasound photos with him, hoping to bridge the gap, but James pulled away. Arguments grew heated. Text messages, later recovered by police, showed Tameisha pleading with him to accept Malaysia. "This is your daughter," she wrote hours before her death. "Malaysia deserves her father." The tension wasn't just personal, it was legal. Tameisha, determined to secure Malaysia's future, began the process of establishing paternity through the courts. A DNA test, scheduled for after Malaysia's birth, would prove James was the father. For Tameisha, it was about accountability, about giving her daughter the support she deserved. But for James, it was a threat. Child support, shared custody, responsibility he didn't want. Friends later told police he grew hostile, insisting Tameisha was trying to trap him. The cracks in their relationship became a chasm, one that would lead to tragedy. Tameisha's story isn't just about her death, it's about her life. She was a woman who faced challenges head-on, who loved deeply and lived fully. Her sons were her pride, her community her strength, her unborn daughter her hope. She wasn't perfect, but she was real, human, a daughter, a mother, a friend. Her social media posts, filled with dreams for Malaysia, paint a picture of a woman who refused to let doubt or hardship dim her light. She worked hard, saved for maternity leave, and planned for a future where her 3 children would thrive. But that future was stolen. The nursery, with its pink decorations, sits empty. The tiny clothes, folded with care, will never be worn. Tameisha's sons face a world without their mother's embrace. Her family, her friends, her community. They all carry the weight of her loss. January 24th, 2024, South Toledo, Ohio. The clock reads 4:48 a.m. The 5300 block of Norton Place is still, bathed in the quiet of a winter morning. Streetlights cast long shadows. Most residents are asleep, unaware that a tragedy is unfolding. Inside a modest single-story home, Tameisha Price, 34 and nearly 9 months pregnant, rests in her bedroom. She's dreaming of her daughter, Malaysia Leani Price, due any day. But that dream is about to become a nightmare. A gunshot shatters the silence. It's not a sound this neighborhood knows. Neighbors stir, confused. Someone dials 911. The caller's voice trembles. "There's been a shooting," they say, "at Norton Place. I think Paris James did it." The accusation hangs in the air, a name that will soon haunt Toledo. Police cars speed through the pre-dawn streets, lights flashing, sirens piercing the quiet. Officers from the Toledo Police Department arrive within minutes, their boots crunching on the frosty ground. They approach the house, unsure of what they'll find. Inside, the scene is devastating. Officers push open the bedroom door and freeze. Tameisha Price lies on the floor, blood pooling beneath her. She's been shot multiple times. Her body is still, her eyes closed. The room, once a sanctuary, is now a tomb. The nursery just down the hall sits untouched, pink decorations mocking the horror. Tameisha's unborn daughter, Malaysia, has no chance of survival. Emergency personnel rush in, but it's too late. Both mother and child are pronounced dead at the scene. The officers, some veterans of countless crime scenes, are shaken. This isn't a robbery gone wrong. There's no sign of forced entry, no scattered belongings. The evidence tells a different story, one of intent. Shell casings litter the floor, bullet holes mark the walls, blood stains the sheets, the carpet, the walls. It's a scene of rage, of precision. Someone came here with a purpose. Someone wanted Tameisha gone, and they made sure she wouldn't survive. The Lucas County Coroner's Office, led by Dr. Diane Scala Barnett, takes over. The autopsy is conducted the next day, January 25th, 2024. The findings are stark. Tameisha died of multiple gunshot wounds, her body bearing the marks of a brutal attack. Her death is ruled a homicide, but the tragedy doesn't end there. Malaysia Leani Price, the unborn daughter Tameisha cherished, is issued her own death certificate. Cause of death, complications of maternal gunshot wounds. Another homicide. Toledo police count 2 victims, 2 lives extinguished in seconds. The coroner's report is more than a document, it's a testament to loss. Tameisha was 34, healthy and full of life. Malaysia was nearly full term, ready to enter the world. The report notes the care Tameisha took during her pregnancy, her body showing signs of a mother preparing for birth. The bullets didn't just kill her, they stole a future. A first cry, a first smile, a mother's embrace. The coroner's office, in a rare move, acknowledges the dual tragedy publicly, ensuring Malaysia's name is remembered alongside her mother's. As the crime scene is processed, Toledo police work with urgency. Detectives swarm the house, collecting evidence. Shell casings are bagged, fingerprints are lifted. The murder weapon, a firearm, is recovered nearby, though details remain guarded. Video footage from nearby cameras is pulled, offering glimpses of movement in the early hours. Witnesses, woken by the gunshot, provide statements. One neighbor recalls hearing a man's voice shouting weeks earlier. Another saw a car speeding away just before dawn. Every clue points to a plan, not a spur-of-the-moment act. The 911 call is a critical lead.
Chris, thanks. A suspect is on the loose and police need your help finding him. Take a look at your screen. This is Paris James. He is wanted in the death of 34-year-old Tameisha Price and her unborn child. Price was shot last month in South Toledo on Norton Place. If you know anything about where James is, you are asked to call Crime Stoppers.
The caller's mention of Paris James gives police a name to chase. They track him down within hours, finding him in Toledo. During questioning, James makes a chilling admission. He was at Tameisha's home that night. He confirms the paternity dispute, admitting he didn't want to be the father. His words, cold and detached, give investigators a motive. But they need more. They dig deeper, piecing together a timeline. Court documents later reveal the police's theory. This was premeditated. The evidence is damning. Video footage shows a figure near Tameisha's home hours before the shooting. Witness statements place James in the area, contradicting his initial story. The lack of forced entry suggests familiarity. Someone Tameisha knew, someone she might have let in. The precision of the gunshots, multiple and targeted, speaks to intent. This wasn't a crime of passion. It was a choice. A plan to erase Tameisha and Malaysia from existence. The neighborhood, usually quiet, is transformed. Police tape cordons off the house. News vans arrive, their cameras capturing the grim scene. Residents gather, whispering in shock. "Not Tameisha," one says. "She was so good to everyone." The crime feels personal, a violation of the community's trust. For Toledo, it's the third homicide of 2024, but this one hits differently. A pregnant woman, an unborn child. The weight of it lingers, a wound that won't heal. Paris James, 27, is the linchpin of this tragedy. To casual observers, he was unremarkable. A Toledo native, he worked at a local manufacturing plant, clocking in and out with the rhythm of blue-collar life. No significant criminal history. An athletic build, a quiet demeanor. To some, he seemed like a guy trying to make it, a man of responsibility. But beneath the surface, James was a man of contradictions. He cultivated an image of stability while weaving a web of deception that would cost 2 lives. James's relationship with Tameisha Price began about a year before her pregnancy. They met through mutual friends at a local gathering, sparks flying in the casual ease of Toledo's social scene. At first, it was light. Dates, laughter, shared moments. Tameisha saw potential. James seemed supportive, someone she could build with. For a time, they were a couple, navigating the ups and downs of romance. But James was playing a double game. Unknown to Tameisha, he was in a committed relationship with another woman, Shatwi, triplet, his live-in girlfriend. When Tameisha announced her pregnancy in 2023, James's facade began to crack. He acknowledged the possibility of being the father, but kept his distance. Text messages, later recovered by police, show his ambivalence. "If it's mine, I'll step up," he wrote early on. But as Tameisha's pregnancy progressed, his tone shifted. Doubt turned to denial. "That baby ain't mine," he told a coworker 5 months in. "She's trying to trap me." The words weren't just a rejection of fatherhood. They were a rejection of Tameisha's truth. The dispute over Malaysia's paternity became the fuse that lit this tragedy. Tameisha, certain James was the father, pushed for accountability. She shared ultrasound photos, invited him to appointments, and planned for a future where Malaysia would know her dad. But James saw responsibility as a cage. Child support, shared custody. A court-ordered DNA test loomed, scheduled for after Malaysia's birth. For Tameisha, it was about securing her daughter's rights. For James, it was a threat to his carefully curated life. Friends of Tameisha later told police James grew hostile. He showed up at her Norton Place home unannounced, sometimes late at night, demanding she drop the paternity claim. One neighbor overheard a heated argument 2 weeks before the murder, James's voice carrying across the yard. "You're not ruining my life with this!" Tameisha stood her ground, her final text to him a plea. "This is your daughter, whether you want to accept it or not. Malaysia deserves her father." That message, sent hours before her death, was a mother's stand for her child. It went unanswered. Jerry Scott, 26, the second suspect in this deadly plot, Little is known about Scott's background, but police allege he was more than a bystander. Court documents describe him as an accomplice who participated in planning and executing Tameisha's murder. Was he a friend of James? A hired hand? The transcript offers few clues, but his role suggests coordination, a shared intent to eliminate Tameisha and Malaysia. Scott's involvement deepens the mystery. Why would he risk everything for James's dispute? Was it loyalty, money, or something darker? Scott's charges mirror James's. 5 counts of aggravated murder, 4 counts of murder, aggravated burglary, felonious assault, and tampering with evidence. The severity of the charges points to an active role, not a passive one. Police believe he was there that night, part of the plan that turned a quiet bedroom into a crime scene. His mugshot, released alongside James's, shows a young man with a blank stare, his motives hidden behind a wall of silence. Chatwaya Triplet, 34, played a different but critical role. As James's live-in girlfriend, she believed she was in an exclusive relationship. For months, she was unaware of Tameisha's existence. James kept his world separate, lying to both women. When Triplet learned of Tameisha's pregnancy through a mutual acquaintance, the revelation sparked chaos. Instead of confronting James, she turned her anger on Tameisha. Manipulated by James's claims that Tameisha was lying about paternity, Triplet sent dozens of hostile text messages, demanding Tameisha stop lying. Triplet's role escalated after the murder. When police questioned her, she provided a false alibi, claiming James was with her all night on January 24th. The lie unraveled quickly. Video footage and witnesses placed James elsewhere. Triplet was arrested for obstructing justice, her charge reflecting her attempt to shield James. Her attorney later argued for a separate trial, citing the lesser charge. "She's not a murderer," the attorney said. "She was caught in his web." But Triplet's actions, however misguided, helped delay justice for Tameisha and Malaysia. The motive in this case is as old as time, avoidance of responsibility. For Paris James, Malaysia's birth represented a reckoning. A paternity test would prove his fatherhood, locking him into financial and emotional obligations, child support payments, co-parenting, a permanent tie to Tameisha. He saw it as a trap, a threat to his freedom. His denial wasn't just doubt, it was a refusal to face the truth. Investigators believe this fear drove him to a deadly choice. Murder was his escape plan. But the motive runs deeper. James's double life, with Tameisha on one side and Triplet on the other, required constant deception. Tameisha's pregnancy threatened to expose him. Triplet's discovery of the truth sparked conflict in their home, adding pressure. James's solution wasn't to resolve the conflict, but to eliminate it. Tameisha and Malaysia became collateral damage in his quest to maintain control. Scott's involvement suggests a shared agenda, though his exact motivation remains unclear. Triplet's role, while less violent, reflects the power of manipulation. Her loyalty to James blinded her to the truth. The murder of Tameisha Price and her unborn daughter, Malaysia, sent shockwaves through Toledo. On January 24, 2024, Toledo Police Department detectives descended on Norton Place, determined to find answers. The crime scene was a puzzle. Shell casings, bullet holes, blood stains. But it wasn't chaotic. It was precise. Detectives knew this was no random act. They worked methodically, collecting evidence, interviewing witnesses, and chasing the name given in the 911 call, Paris James. Within hours, they found him. James, 27, was questioned at the station. His admission was chilling. He was at Tameisha's home that night. He confirmed the paternity dispute, admitting he didn't want to be Malaysia's father. His words gave police a motive, but they needed evidence to tie him to the crime. Video footage from nearby cameras showed a figure near the house before dawn. Witnesses reported seeing James in the area, contradicting his claim of innocence. The lack of forced entry suggested Tameisha knew her killer, The pieces were falling into place. The investigation expanded quickly. Detectives recovered a firearm, believed to be the murder weapon, though details were kept under wraps. Shell casings matched the gun. Fingerprints were analyzed. The Bureau of Criminal Investigation, BCI, took over forensic testing, combing through every scrap of evidence. Court documents later revealed a damning picture. This was premeditated. Video evidence showed planning. Witness statements pointed to intent. The 911 caller's tip, naming James, was corroborated by Tameisha's friends, who described his growing hostility over the paternity dispute. Text messages were a goldmine. Tameisha's phone revealed a trail of arguments with James. Her pleas for him to accept Malaysia met with cold denial. "This is your daughter," she wrote hours before her death. James's responses grew angrier, more dismissive. Messages from Shatwia Triplet, James's girlfriend, added another layer. Dozens of hostile texts demanded Tameisha stop lying about paternity, showing Triplet's role in the drama. When police questioned her, she claimed James was with her all night, a lie quickly disproven by video evidence. Jerry Scott, 26, emerged as the second suspect. Court documents allege he helped plan and execute the murder, a partner in James's deadly scheme. His role is less clear: friend, hired help, or something else, but his charges match James's. 5 counts of aggravated murder, 4 counts of murder, aggravated burglary, felonious assault, and tampering with evidence. Police believe Scott was at the scene, an active participant in the crime that ended 2 lives. His arrest, alongside James's, strengthened the case. Shatwia Triplet, 34, faced a different charge: obstructing justice. Her false alibi, claiming James was with her, was meant to protect him. When police disproved it, she was arrested. Her attorney later argued she was manipulated by James, a victim of his lies. But her actions delayed the investigation, adding to the family's pain. All 3 suspects were in custody within days, their initial court appearances setting the stage for a high-profile case. The case seemed airtight. James and Scott were held on $2 million bonds, charged with 2 counts of aggravated murder, 1 for Tameisha, 1 for Malaysia. Triplet, released on bond, faced her obstruction charge. A Lucas County grand jury upped the stakes, indicting James and Scott on 5 counts of aggravated murder, 4 counts of murder, aggravated burglary, felonious assault, and tampering with evidence. The charges reflected the dual victims and the premeditated nature of the crime. Prosecutors were confident. The evidence was strong. Justice seemed near. Then, in early 2025, everything changed. The BCI, analyzing the murder weapon, made a stunning discovery: DNA from an unknown man, not James, not Scott, a third party. The news hit like a thunderbolt. Defense attorneys for James and Scott pounced, filing motions to delay the trial. They argued the DNA could point to another killer, someone not yet in custody. The prosecution scrambled to explain it, maintaining that James and Scott were responsible, but the questions piled up. Who was this man? Was he involved in the murder? Or was the DNA a coincidence, perhaps from a prior owner of the gun? The DNA twist turned a straightforward case into a mystery. Court documents, filed months after the murder, detailed the find. The BCI's report confirmed the DNA belonged to a male, but his identity remains undisclosed. Prosecutors launched a new investigation, chasing leads to identify the individual. Defense attorneys demanded access to the evidence, arguing it could exonerate their clients. The trial, originally set for early 2025, faced multiple postponements as both sides grappled with the implications. The DNA discovery raises chilling possibilities. Could there be another accomplice, someone who escaped justice? Was the murder weapon passed through multiple hands, complicating the case? Or is the DNA a red herring, a distraction from the overwhelming evidence against James and Scott? The prosecution holds firm, pointing to James's admission, the video footage, and the witness statements. They argue the DNA doesn't negate the case. It's a detail to be explained, not a game changer. But the defense sees opportunity, a chance to cast doubt. For Tameisha's family, the twist is agonizing. Every delay prolongs their wait for justice. Every new question reopens their wounds. The community, too, feels the weight. Toledo, a city of 270,000, isn't used to cases this complex. The DNA mystery has sparked debate on social media, in local news, in living rooms across the city. Some believe James and Scott are guilty, the DNA a minor detail. Others wonder if the real killer is still out there, watching, waiting. As of May 2025, the murder of Tameisha Price and her unborn daughter, Malaysia, remains an open wound in Toledo, Ohio. Paris James and Jerry Scott, the primary suspects, sit in custody, each held on a $2 million bond. Their charges are staggering: 5 counts of aggravated murder, 4 counts of murder, 1 count of aggravated burglary, 2 counts of felonious assault, and 1 count of tampering with evidence. The Lucas County Common Pleas Court is their battleground, where prosecutors and defense attorneys clash over a case that has gripped the city. The trial, originally slated for early 2025, has been delayed by the DNA bombshell. Defense attorneys, seizing on the unidentified male DNA found on the murder weapon, argue it could point to another killer. They've filed motions for more time to investigate, pushing the trial to January 2025 at the earliest. Prosecutors, undeterred, maintain that James and Scott planned and executed the murder, with James driven by his fear of paternity. The DNA, they say, is a puzzle piece, not a game changer. But the court must decide, and every hearing brings new tension. Shatwaya Triplet, the third suspect, faces a different path. Charged with obstructing justice for her false alibi, she was released on bond. Her attorney successfully severed her case from James and Scott's, arguing that her lesser charge shouldn't be tainted by the murder trial. She was manipulated, her attorney told local media. She's not a murderer. Triplet's trial will follow, a separate chapter in this sprawling case. Her role, though less violent, underscores the ripple effects of James's deception. Tameisha's family is at the heart of this story. Her 2 sons, now without their mother, face a future forever altered. Her uncle, Terry Price, spoke to reporters outside the Norton Place home days after the murder. She was a caring mother of 2 kids, a sweetheart, he said, his voice breaking. This makes no sense. Terry's words capture the family's devastation, a loss so profound it defies comprehension. Tameisha's mother, in a rare public statement, called her daughter more than a victim. She was a daughter, a mother, a friend who loved deeply and was loved in return, she said. The family attends every court hearing, sitting in silent strength as the legal process unfolds. They wear buttons with Tameisha's and Malaysia's names, a quiet protest against the violence that took them. For Tameisha's sons, the loss is unimaginable. They're now in the care of relatives, their lives upended. The family's focus is on preserving Tameisha's memory, ensuring her boys know the love she gave them. But the pain is raw, the wait for justice excruciating. Toledo, a city of resilience, was shaken by this crime. The murder marked the 3rd homicide of 2024, but its brutality set it apart. A pregnant woman, an unborn child. The quiet neighborhood of Norton Place, where residents kept to themselves, became a focal point of grief. Neighbors gathered outside Tameisha's home, leaving flowers, candles, and notes. "We love you, Tameisha," one read. "Rest in peace, Malaysia." A candlelight vigil, held weeks after the murder, drew hundreds. Community members held hands, prayed, and vowed to keep Tameisha's memory alive. Local organizations stepped up, offering support to Tameisha's family. Churches hosted fundraisers for her sons. Domestic violence advocates use the case to highlight the risks pregnant women face, calling for better protections. Tameisha's story is a wake-up call. Domestic violence isn't just physical, it's emotional, psychological, manipulative. Pregnancy, a time of joy, can be a time of danger. Research shows homicide is a leading cause of death for pregnant women, a statistic that haunts this case. Tameisha's pursuit of paternity, her refusal to back down, made her a target. Her story demands we look closer at red flags, at support systems, at the systems that failed her. Experts point to warning signs in Tameisha's case. James's denial, his hostility, his unannounced visits. These are signals of control, of potential violence. Communities can respond by training healthcare providers to screen for abuse during prenatal visits. Law enforcement can adopt protocols for disputes involving pregnancy. Legal protections, like enhanced penalties for crimes against pregnant women, need stronger enforcement. Tameisha's death is a failure to protect a mother and her child. We can't let it happen again. This video isn't just a story. It's a mission. Share it with someone who needs to hear it. Raise awareness about domestic violence. Support organizations helping victims. Demand justice for Tameisha and Malaysia. Subscribe to Dark Truth Files for updates on this case and others that deserve attention. And ask yourself, do you believe the real killer has been caught? The DNA twist leaves room for doubt. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's keep this conversation alive.